Good evening, everybody. Good to see we have a good number of you on today, and it's going to be a good webinar. So firstly, just a little bit of boring housekeeping. If you can please let me know that you can see me and hear me, that would be great. Just there's a little chat box there. You can, all your chats are private, all the notes you send to me are private, so please be aware of that. They're not public. A lot of people make them public, but some people want to say something that's private. So please let me know that you can hear me. Fantastic. Hey, Ravi, how you doing, man? I'm assuming that's a Ravi I know. I know a few Ravis. Good. Okay, great. Thanks, Geeta. Excellent. And thanks, everyone else. So you can see me and hear me. That's good. So we'll get cracking straight into it. I'm Ashley Banfield, as you can see. Loud and clear. Thanks, Phil. This is going to be about probably an hour and 15 minutes. It's going to be straight to the point. No fluff, no bullshit. We just get straight into it, and you might learn something. In fact, you probably will learn something. There are some people on here with a lot of experience, but you're probably still going to learn something tonight. So let's get stuck in. So I'm going to share my screen. So again, once you see it, please let me know that you can see my screen, please. That will be good. Here we go. And you should see a PowerPoint. Don't worry, it's not by PowerPoint. It's just there. So you've got a reference point. And you should be able to still see my mug down the bottom right corner or left corner. So just let me know that you can see Wealth and Success Academy Property Cash Flow System on the screen now, please. Beautiful. Brilliant. Cool. Let's get cranking. So Wealth and Success Academy, what is it? Well, it's just a name really, but it's something that myself and my business partner, Emmanuel Ezekiel, put together. I think it's like a long time ago now. It's like kicking on, like getting long in the tooth, I think. But Emmanuel Ezekiel, my business partner, he's got a substantial portfolio. He's been in this business getting on to 30 years now. He'd probably want me to say 20, but hey, that's the way it is. Most of his portfolio is in London. He has commercial, residential, service accommodation, has rent to rent. His own stuff is worth about probably 50 million quid. That's not, to try and make you feel excited. That's just to show you what you can build up to. Most of that was actually built in the last few years because he lost a bit along the way, and obviously marital problems, that type of thing. So he's actually built most of that up in the future, in now and the current. I myself, I have a portfolio of 27 properties. Buy-to-lets, I'm not really excited about buy-to-lets anymore. It just doesn't do it for me because the cash flow is not there, which is the reason I got into rent-to-rent HMOs, and then I got into rent-to-rent service accommodation, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. Rent-to-rent HMOs is getting a lot harder now, which is something that we don't really promote anymore, simply because there's a new rule coming into place in April where even 2-level properties with 5 bedrooms are going to need a license, and that has to be enforced by October this year. So it's not something that's sustainable for the long term. We like to take on properties for 3 years. So that's the reason we're not really getting into HMOs at the moment. But also the cash flow is even less than service accommodation. And this is, I have to tell you, you'll see from not just me, from other people, this is the most amazing property business that you can actually get into. So stay tuned. So what we learned today, the property cash flow system. So it is an actual system that we put together. Each letter there has a different meaning to it. We're going to cover off the core tonight, which is the C. C stands for the core, and you'll see what they stand for now. In the course that we run, we cover this in detail, and beware, before you book onto any course, I must let you know, it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. Starts on, the next one's this Saturday, and it does not finish until 6. It is a full-on day. We only give you about 40 minutes for lunch. We provide you lunch. We have coffee breaks and all that sort of stuff. You will be hammered on the day, and you will learn. This is not one of those that we spread over a day and it's like a bit of fluff, and over 2 days we try to sell you shit and all that sort of stuff. That is not what this is about. We are here to educate you on this system. So where was I? Sorry, here. I'll show you some examples of some of my properties and the students' properties, how you can start to earn money from service accommodation very quickly. In fact, there's 2 ladies working together. I'll show you those. Nontu and Caroline got the first property in 12 days, and they are full-time working nurses, so you have no excuse. and we'll show you what the next steps are and so on. So once again, thank you for joining. We're going to cover off the property cash flow system, and it's designed to help you learn and earn much more quickly. We spoke to a lot of people who have been like teaching courses, not necessarily property courses, for many, many years. I'm talking like 35, 40 years, and they've divided the system around this. I spoke to a couple of other people who use a similar system. We also spoke to a couple of psychologists who understand the way that people learn, and this has taken us a few months to put together, but we got there. We tested it in December. People who came in November, they were allowed to come back in the December course. That's when we tested it. We then tested it again in January. Last month was one of the biggest courses we've ever had. In December, the people that came back said, you know what, November was really, really good, but this is just fantastic. So it's something that helps you remember, which is why we're doing it. So back on. So many of you may already be in property. Now, I say that kind of loosely because, and this is not to offend anyone, I know a lot of people who are in property, but they don't actually have any properties. They are in property, but they don't actually earn a single penny from property. In fact, they've been to courses and spent more money on courses and more money on bullshit mentoring than they have on the money that they've actually earned. So they've got actually zero or negative return on investment, if you like. So I'm sorry if that's one of you, but wake up, dudes. You know, I'm not saying like we're the kings and that type of thing, but we deliver content and we want you to learn. And our reputation is built on that. Even the people that we mentor, we actually pick you, so you don't get to pick us, because again, we want to make sure you're the right person, the right fit, that type of thing. So the short game and the long game. What's the long game? Let's do it back to front. The long game is where most people who go and do property get caught out. What happens is you take this big fat elephant gun. You wouldn't have a clue what ammunition to put in it. You don't know, what sort of kick it's going to give you, and you don't know where to point it to kill that big giant elephant. So you go out and you go into estate agents. You go, oh hi, here you go. I'm a cash buyer, and you haven't got a brass razoo to your bloody name. And estate agents now see through this because it's a technique that's been used for many years, and it's basically failing for most right now. So then you have to get into JV partners. You have to get a JV partner to try and fund you. And if JV partner's not going to fund you because they don't have experience, and it's going to take you months and months and months. So that's the long game. When you do crack a deal and you get a good deal, let's hope you're going to make some profit out of it. But I can tell you this, you spend so much time out there knocking on doors, doing the same mundane thing over and over again. I call it the Homer Simpson effect. Dole, dole, dole. And it doesn't stop because it doesn't hurt. But it will hurt your pocket and it will hurt your time, and you'll actually end up giving up property or even worrying about it, and then you'll blame everyone else except yourself. It's just it's a pattern that we go through. So what you should be doing is winding it back a bit and looking at the short game. Now, the short game, the long game is not just property. This is in any business. So the short game, this takes care of your cash flow. So it takes care of your bills. So when you're working, like I spoke about, I'll show you a lot of my students who actually were working or do work, and they get started and they get deals. What they need to do is they need to get this cash flow to actually overtake their current income. So then they can leave. Now, if you need £3,000 a month, you need to be earning £5,000 a month, because you want to have residual income. And you also want to have disposable income, so that it will help you grow and get more deals and that type of thing. Because you want to be super comfortable. You don't want to just be like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I've left my job because I earn £3,000 a month. You need to get, £5,000, £6,000 before you actually decide to leave. Then you will feel much better. There'll be no anxiety. You don't get into that big deep dive of depression, wondering what the hell you did. So, we need to make sure that you're mentally well, and that means that mentally well. That's a shit phrase. Mentally positive to make sure that you can go on and still be getting deal after deal, and you love it and you enjoy it. Because I tell you what, when the money comes in, it flashes up in your bank, it goes ping, ping, ping. You love this stuff. So what we'll do then is you can then say, well, I'm going to give up my day job, or you can milk it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long your period is, your gardening leave, or whatever it is, I don't know. And then from there, what happens is this business starts to recycle and fund itself. So every 2 or 3 months, or depending on, so when you've got like 3 or 4 properties, they then start to fund themselves. You get the income, then they fund. Then what happens is then you get another, you get 7, 8. Then all of a sudden your business is funding 2 or 3 deals. Then you're self-sufficient. Hallelujah. You don't need anyone else. You don't need any credit rating, nothing. You've got agents who are looking after you. And once you get to that point and you make that change, it's unbelievable the feeling. I was talking to Tim Dix today. He's just got his 10th property. I need to update my slides because you can see 8. Just got his 10th. And he's like, mate, it's just funding itself. It's awesome. So short game, take care of cash flow. Do not ignore the short game. Do not just jump into the big long game. It will hurt you. So Ash, you're probably saying to yourself, Ash, this is not anything but Diet Coke, by the way. Why now? Well, let me tell you why now. In fact, I saw something the other day that I posted on our private groups. Some of you may be on one of the public groups as well. I posted this article from the Service Apartment News, and it was about 2,000 new units coming into the UK, all over the UK, of service accommodation. Now, this business is growing so rapidly, it's unbelievable. And you need to be on this. You need to be on this upward curve. Don't get in at the top. Don't get in at the top when everyone's making money. Get in now. We're at the low end of the curve. You need to get in now. The service apartment industry, as it says there, is expanding worldwide. They are building hotels. There's not enough. There's so many people traveling now, and the Chinese are traveling extensively. In fact, in my areas, about 45% of all of our guests who stay are from China. So, or Far East Asia as well. They're coming to the UK a lot more. More travelers, business, leisure, they all recognize the benefits of this dynamic sector. And when I say dynamic, it is forever changing for the better. You know, you look at guest houses, right? We buy guest houses and turn them into flats, and they're so easy. Here's a tip. Look for guest houses because they're going out of business. Why are they going out of business? Because service accommodation is such a high end now. It's driving out those 1980s, 1990 looking bloody guest houses that have had no money spent on them. They're taking 50, 60 pound a night. They're not making any money. They have to live there. Service accommodation, we're taking over 300 pound a night, 250 a night for our apartments. We're killing that business. I don't say that to brag because, you know, I've spoken to these people who we buy guest houses from and said, look, you know, this is what you could do here. Why don't you turn this around? Oh, no, I've had enough. I don't ever want to do it again. Okay, great. Just that you know, we're going to take it. What we do is we can then turn those into service accommodation because guest houses are normally within that criteria that we look for from the centre. So there's a big fat tip for you. I don't usually give that. So far this year, that was 2017 because I don't have the 18 stats. And this was back in July. Airbnb, just Airbnb, and then there's 225 different channels or websites like this, including booking.com, all these other sort of things, globally. And there's little startups and that type of thing. But the main ones is about 35, 40. You know, your TripAdvisor, Expedia, booking.com, Airbnb, Trivago, hotels.com, all of those. So this is guest arrivals on there, right? 50 million guest arrivals, not 50 million guests, because we have 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 8 people staying in our apartments. So if you had an average of 3, times that by 3, the amount of guests coming to stay, because we actually charge more per guest, but you get to know more about that on the day. And it puts the company on track to pass 100 million this year, which is 2017. Now have a look at these stats. 2016, so 2017 on there will now surpass 100 million when we get the stats. But if you look back in 2009, this is only bloody 9 years ago this year, 21,000 guest arrivals. We are now, within 9 years, 100 million. Now look at the changes from 2013, only 5 years to now. We've gone from 6 million to 100 million. You know, 2016, look at this. This is when we got into service accommodation. It's more than doubled. And when I say doubled, you know, tens of millions. And this is just Airbnb. So hopefully you can see from there, this is how fast the industry is growing. This is not a graph that we put together. This is something we got from Airbnb. Now, the travelers, we spoke about business and leisure at the start. We don't just say shit for the sake of it. There's a reason for it, and these are the people you need to focus on. 2014, it's fairly light for business and leisure. 2005, you'll see that leisure's up slightly. 2016, leisure is again slightly up. And 2017, again, business is slightly up, probably a little bit more on leisure. Leisure is probably up a little bit more than business in 2017. But the thing to point out there is they're fairly line ball. So in other words, this is just Airbnb, by the way. So you can see that businesses, although a lot of people think that, oh, only young dickheads who want to do parties use Airbnb. That's crap, as you can see there from those stats. So what types of S are there? Service accommodation. Service apartments, which is what everyone probably said to themselves, oh, yes, I know this, service apartments. Yeah, well, of course. Then there's apart hotels, and I'll show you an example of one that Nigel's got, one that we're just offering on in the same area. And then you look at corporate housing, which is where we get long-term corporate housing, normally, you know, sort of minimum 30 days onwards. We get executives and this type of things. And also, guys, if you've got any questions, please plant them in, and I'll answer them at the end. I can't actually see them right now. So if you've got any questions, plug them in, and I will answer every single question at the end. So what is the cash flow system? So you know why we put it together. So what is it? Here it is. So it starts with the core, and it's a whole cyclical system. Once you get to, you know, from core all the way up to wages, it starts again and again and again and again, and it keeps going around. The good thing is that once you've done the core, the C bit, you never actually have to do that again, although I'd probably do it every 6 to 7 months. The rest just continues and continues and continues on every single deal. Awesome. So core, what is core? So the C, as you can see there, stands for central. So when we would talk about central, you need to be thinking about what's it near? Why do people want to stay in my apartment? Why do they want to stay in this area? Think about where you live, and if there's hotels in your area, bingo, you have an area, because they do more research than what we do. So sometimes we just follow the hotels. Bit of a tip. Operations. Now, if you've got the central bit right, normally operations will follow. But there's one other key point for operations. So you're going to be running this business. Now, number one, I'll let you know that you can automate most of the business. So you don't actually have to be there to do a meet and greet, don't have to do check-ins. It can all be done remotely via different systems. Now, if you are going to do meet and greets, you want to be within half an hour of that location. So if you live in the center near that area, perfect. You can do your meet and greets. If not, like I do, you know, my business partners, because I don't really have the time to do that, they live in the areas that I invest in with service accommodation. So they do all of the day-to-day running of the business. That's meet and greets and that type of thing. You know, checking out cleaners and what have you. So it's awesome. By the way, you can get into this business if you don't actually want to be hands-on. You can invest in the business, and we have lots of students who have the time and are putting it in. People that I mentor, I never put people with investors that I don't mentor, because if I don't mentor them, then I don't know what they're doing. So I can't put your trust in me and then put their trust in them, if you know what I mean. So we have that facility available too. So realty, as in property. So if you have a nice central area, yes, it's beautiful. You know, people want to come here, but there are no properties available, then it's going to be pretty tough, and you're going to be knocking on doors all day long trying to get a deal, and there's no properties available, so it's going to kill you. So you need to make sure that this also fits into the core system. Now, I'm sort of giving you some snippets here, but I can tell you this: the core for the first 3 hours, 1, 2, 3 of the course is all about the core. So I'm giving you like probably a couple of minutes on each, whereas on each one we spend about 45 to 50 minutes. So you can understand the detail that goes into the core, because if you have the core right, your business will shine and you won't even be able to help it, so to speak. Then we get to, oh, we missed the E there. Oh, no, we haven't. The opium. Opium stands for other people's money. And my business partner will tell you that is the greatest drug that he can ever have, and he's heavily addicted to it because he's worth 50 million and I'm worth not quite that much, but a fair bit. And we also always use other people's money. There's no need to invest in your own money. We also use other people's properties. So this is the realty bit. So we're talking about the rent to rent here. So in other words, if you can't afford to buy a property, you don't have the deposits, or you don't want to fork out money for deposits, or maybe that your credit rating, for whatever reason, it may be that you've gone through a bloody divorce, you've got no money, you've got no income to show, or whatever it might be. You know, there's 101 reasons, probably 1,001 reasons, whatever it might be. So we can use other people's properties. And if you have some issue with credit, you can then JV with somebody who doesn't, and you can split the profits. The good thing is we also use other people's experience. So I have experience. We have lots of people on the group who have experience. You can call on us anytime on the private Facebook group that we put you onto. Other people's knowledge is obviously what we're going to share with you on Saturday, should you decide to come, and also other people's connections, which is where we get the joint venture partners and what have you, and so on. And we could also, you know, I mentor a lot of people and they come to me, oh, I've got a cleaner and say, yeah, let me speak to Jack, let me speak to Tim, let me speak to Cam, let me speak to Nontu, or whoever it is in the area. So, and other people's teams, you know, we have a lot of people that we have who are experienced working in our area. And, you know, I've got a student at the moment who's actually Emmanuel's coming to the course on Saturday as well. He's actually a mindset expert as well. And he'll probably talk for about 5 minutes about that. I actually put one of my ladies that I'm mentoring, there's two of them that I'm mentoring, in touch with him today. He went there for 10 minutes. He spent an hour and a half with them. And their response was, it's so good to spend so much quality time with someone so positive. He's now offering to help them out as part of my mentorship. And so she's like, mate, I'm gifted. This is awesome. So fantastic. And she also has a JV partner in him now. So yabba dabba do. It's like, that's my team. I'm flexing my team. I'm letting people use my team. So that's what we do, right? So experience. This is the E. Experience is not your experience, or, you know, because you're going to have zero when you start. The experience is that of the customer, of the guest. So what's the experience going to be like? And to do this, you know, you look around, you think, what's it like? You know, if you're standing in London and you're in Regent's Park, you know, what can they do? They can go to the zoo, they can go up the road to the cricket matches, Lords, whatever they call it, or they can go to, you know, walk around the park, or, you know, they can go star spotting or whatever. Any stars that live there, they can go to Madame Tussauds. I know this because I've got students who've got properties in Regent's Park. All sorts of places they can go to. You know, quite close to central London as well. They'll Uber right away, say 10 minutes, etc. So it's, you know, you've got to think, what's the experience like for the guest? So in other words, if I said to you, you know, hey Joe, what's it like to stay at your apartment? And if you say, yeah, it's good, mate. It's nice and clean. It's, you know, got good beds, you know, got a good kitchen. You can cook. I don't give a shit about that. I said, yeah, good, Joe. That's fine, mate. But what do I do when I'm there? I can watch TV. You know, we've got Virgin TV, we've got Sky Movies, all this crap. No. What can I do? Like, what's it like to live there? Oh, you mean what's it like to live in? Yeah, what's it like? You know, if like 10 o'clock at night and I think I want to go for a drink, is there somewhere to go? Yeah, sure, go in there. There's a nice lively bar or this or that, or there's a pub. Or what about if I want Thai food, Indian, Chinese, or if I want fish and chips, where can I go? Oh, you can go down here, go down there, etc. Oh, cool. Is there any shopping in the area in case, you know, I bring my wife or the kids or whatever, or any activities? Yeah, there's this, and this. So this is what the experience needs to be like for each and every guest. So joint venture partners, we spoke a bit about that, so we won't cover any more of that. So here's your core. Without the core, I can categorically guarantee one thing. You will not be as successful as you should be. So take care of the core and you will be successful. beyond your actual beliefs. And I can tell you this from experience. I can tell you this from my students' experience. And, you follow this, and it's a simple system to follow. Yes, we do hammer you on your day to get this into you, but it's also fun because we do exercises and you have a laugh, right? So we'll also, touch on a bit about purchase on the day and the advantages of it and how you do it with none of your own money. And we'll show you how to do that and how we buy commercial property. So we'll cover that off as well. But primarily, we're going to talk about rent to rent on the day because this is what the majority of people are looking for. It's a super quick system to set up. In fact, I'll show you Sam and Cal. Sam's been in business. He's like in his 30s now. He's been in business since he was like 19, 20. And he's had a plethora of different businesses. And he said to me one day, he said, I can't believe that I didn't find this business before. I said, why is that, Sam? He said, mate, it's so easy to follow. It's so easy to set up. It's so quick to set up. And the profits are virtually instantaneous. He said, other business that he's had, it take a year, take 2, sometimes 3 before you realize a profit. And you cannot pay yourself until your company actually makes a profit. So with this business, we're going to be making profits within the first 6 to 8 weeks. Awesome stuff. Fast turnover and profit, we just covered that. So another question you're probably asking yourself is, Ash, how much can I make then? You talk about this, you talk about money, you talk about cash flow. Yeah, but show me the money. Cool. Here's Nigel. Now, I need to update this slide too. He's now been going in April. It will be 12 months in April. So work back from there. He is now turning over $500,000. So he has got 25 service accommodation properties. He had 0 properties, 0 experience, and 0 money when he came to me to the course in November 2016. So just over a year ago. He walked out of there. Within 2 months, he had these properties. And within 4 months, 5 months of that, he was operating. And these are 2 apart hotels that he's taken over. And there he is in Cyprus with his wife. They're on their, live, laugh, love. They're on their wedding anniversary, and they look pretty damn happy. And this is about 6 months after they got started. Now, I know these figures are big, but why can't you do this? He started with nothing experience, exactly like you guys are sitting there. In fact, he came to me on a webinar, much like you are here right now. So you could do the same. Here's Tim. He actually now has 10 properties. I spoke to him today. So he's now in excess of about probably £15,000 a month. That's his helicopter behind. He took me to France for a bit of a thank you, if you like. And the good thing about that, actually, that trip, we actually had our phones, and his phone was buzzing, mine was buzzing. I said, "What's that?" He said, "Another booking." I said, "Yeah, mine, another booking too." And then I said, "Right, let's have a little bit of a laugh. Let's have a competition. Let's see who gets the most bookings over the weekend." And student killed mentor. He slammed me by about 3 bookings and value as well. So you think he's happy? He used to own a garage. He's now closing the garage down. He's got a couple of things that he's got to finish off, but on the 25th, so it's only a few days away. 3 days. It's on Sunday. From Monday the 26th, he no longer owns that garage, and he is happy as pie. Well done, Tim. Awesome, top guy as well. He actually flew to my house and picked me up in our back field. So great stuff. This is Sam and Calvo I was telling you about. They've actually now got 16 or 17 essays. They've now been going 7 months. I mean, look at that. Awesome figures. They've even got their own van. Actually, Sam will be there on Saturday as well. So you can ask Sam. Sam's going to chat for about 5 minutes on his journey, on how quickly he got there. So you can find out all about that from Sam as well. So awesome. Another great person to speak to. Harvey, his figures don't look as big because what he did is got to a certain level, $5.5 a month. Then he said, I'm emigrating to Australia. He'd already started that process. So he's actually now living in Australia. This is awesome. Look at these numbers. He has a mix of HMOs and service accommodation properties that should be on there. 42,000 on average. It goes up to 45, 46,000 pounds per month profit, and that's in 2 years. And I remember Jimmy when he got his first. That's Jimmy with the big watch. I remember Jimmy when he said when he got his first deal, he's like, "Oh no, mate, this just scared me. I can't get another one." I said, "Mate, go and get another 3 deals." So bang, bang, bang. I think he got a Sainsbury's loan for like 25 grand, 3% to go and fund them. And so he put his nuts on the line, so to speak. And now look, he spends most of his bloody time DJing in Ibiza because that's what he wants to do. You know, he's got a business now that's sustainable. It runs itself. He's got other people who run that business. So that's me with him. And then there's Jazz Real on the other side, who's got some HMOs as well. Well done, Jazz. Catch up with Jazz next week, actually, in London. He's Napa when he came to us. He was earning £600 a month. He then lost his job, which meant then he got kicked out of his house because he couldn't pay the rent. He only lived on the streets for about 3 or 4 weeks, I think, something like that. But Snap in the middle, and it's Emmanuel Ezekiel. That's one of our dinners that we have. We've got one coming up at the end of March, so we're going to have another big night out with all the students. You can find out from them as well. Cool. So it's Napa. These ladies are amazing. So with the headband, that's Caroline, and that's Nontu, Zimbabwean ladies. This is a photo in their apartment that I took on what's today? Thursday? On Tuesday. And it's in their new deal, their brand new deal. So this is their first deal. So I was so excited. I said, look, ladies, give me a photo. So this is a minimum of £1,000 per month profit. It'll probably go up to 1,600. There's another lady who's got one in there. She's earning about 2.5 grand a month from a property, and it's next door. So they got this in 12 days. I remember them saying to me, they said, "Oh, Ash, come on. We're stressed. We're stressed." I'm, "Why are you stressed?" Like, it's been 5-6 days. We haven't got a deal. And I'm like, "It will come. Come on." So first in 12 days, I was out with them on Tuesday. There was the number one agent in their area was giving them with a grief, saying, "No, we don't do this, don't do that." So I said, "No problem. Let me call them." So I phoned them up. How are you going? And phoned them up and spoke to them for about 15 minutes. And I didn't tell these guys what I'd said to them. I picked them up on Tuesday in the area. So come on, jump in my car. Let's go to this agent because they're a little bit further out of town. And went in there and met Lindsay, and I said, "Hey, Lindsay, how you going? This is Caroline Nontu. This is what we do." 10 minutes later, she said, "No problem. We're going to send you all our deals." Bingo! Sometimes it's not what you say to the agents, it's what you don't say. So you need to know what this is. So, yes, and I'm not going to tell you right here and now. Jess got 14. He's now on 22 properties. He's got more, so his profits are much higher there. Jack's been going about 2 years, 3 months now. So awesome work, Jack. Got his brother working with him as well. Fantastic. There's Anna. Actually, that's Neville Wright there on my right. Neville Wright on my right. He's a good friend of the family's. He's now worth around about 100 million cash from property. He is the founder of Kiddie Care. Anyone who's got kids will probably know that. And they sold that to Morrison's for 70 million. He's just an absolute work Trojan, but he loves it. To him, it's not work. So he's working with us, and that's Anna in the middle. Anna was working full time as well for a big bank in London. And by the way, yeah, these two ladies, they are full-time nurses. So they work nights. Nontu, when I met her on Tuesday, she's just come off 5 nights in a row. And this is Donna Molinari. She's also got 2 deals, profit within her first month. And she works full-time for a massive, big American global organization. So 0 experience. She's now in Las Vegas for a week. So I said, look, please don't spend your profits too quickly. So she's enjoying life. She loves it. And she's an amazing lady. She works so hard. So the reason I'm showing that is you need to mix with people and hear from people who are doing what you would like to do. So to sit with winners, the conversation is very different because, if I go back and look at all these people again, if you sat with Nigel, you sat with Tim, you sat with Sam and Cam. You sat with, well, if you had to go to Australia to sit with Harvey, or you sat with Jimmy, you sat with Jazz, you sat with Nappy, you sat with Emmanuel, you sat with me, you sat with these two ladies or Jack, all of them, you would have a very different conversation with somebody who goes, oh, yeah, no, it won't work. You know, like pub talk. And it's kind of like that old thing, like, you know, oh, Mum, I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to go and parachute and save the world. Oh, you don't want to do that, son. Well, why not, Mum? Oh, because I wouldn't want to do it. That's the real reason, because they don't have the same drive and the same get up as what you do. So what makes them successful? They all follow the cash flow system to the T. Now, I have a load more people that I can put on there, but hey, you know, I don't want to bore you. And here's the system. It's the core, the whole cash flow system. You know, we get to liquidity, you know, where you get the money from. We get to the wages, which is when you pay yourself. And there's a whole lot more on the system, obviously. So here's an example of some of the properties. Let's say this is a studio flat. This is one in Birmingham, one of Ben's. That's the setup there. You put, you know, dress it up. You've got to dress it up so that it looks lived in. You know, it needs to look the part, because, you know, you need to take these professional photos. So you can see the kitchen looks good. Even a small thing like the little tea cloth on the oven, it shows that someone lives there, if you know what I mean. It doesn't look like some little show home they're trying to sell. Just give an example of different fold techniques on the beds and karate chopping the cushions. This is some of our properties in Hammersmith, London. Some more there of that. Again, you can see it's all set up for the photos. You don't leave the cutlery and that type of thing on there, obviously, when the guests come in. It's just the way it is. But the beds need to be made up nicely. This is just to show you a period home. So we don't just take on apartments. We'll take on period homes as well, which are fully renovated or refurbed. That one is to show you it's right next to the most famous cafe in the area, and it's constantly full. That's again showing you at the top is more of a modern flat, and then downstairs shows you the period homes that you can get. And I can tell you this, that 3-bed period home, which we've turned into 4, it sleeps 8 people, makes as much money, and it's a little bit further out of town, but there's 2 parking spots there. That family house makes as much as our 2-bed apartment right dead center in town. So you got to know where to look, because there are what we call micro areas. There's another one with She likes a bit of red. I'm not such a fan of the red, but hey, it's the way it goes. She does well. These are the apartments, some of the apartments of Sam and Calv. These are I think they're in Heathrow, so it's a block of 4 that they took over. This is one of mine. You see, it's bright and area, lots of windows. Karate chop style pillows and that type of thing. You can see some different color. Again, putting the oven gloves, putting something on it, make the kitchen look like it's lived in. These are not the professional photos. The professional photos are even better. This is, I think this is Donna. Yes, this is Donna Molinari's apartment. Look at that. It's amazing. 3-bed apartment. She's getting for 8 people over £1,000 a night. And it's nowhere near London, I can tell you this. She's just like, wow, this is awesome. You know, we're raking it in. The numbers I give you that she's getting at 2.7, that's an average, if you like, for the year. For what we worked out on her numbers, but she's absolutely smashing that, hence why she's off to Vegas. So the secret, when you look at the experience of the core, so you got the central, you got the operations, you got the realty, and you've got the experience, you need to think like a guest. And that's when I said to you before, you know, if you said to me, if I said, hey Joe, what's it like to live in your apartment? You go, sure, you know, it's all right, got TV. And no, what's it like? What's the experience like? Well, it's great, man. You know, it's like airy and light and fresh and clean and everything's fantastic. But I'll tell you this, you can walk out and go to this restaurant, this town, whatever you want. So you need to create your service accommodation with your guest in mind, not you. Don't get caught up in the bullshit of it's got to look like this, it's got to look like. Yes, it needs to look amazing. You need to have what we call a wow factor. So when you're looking for a property, here's a big tip. If you walk into that property and you go, No, it's okay. It's all right. I can tell you this. It's exactly what you would think if you had booked that property to stay in yourself. But if you walk into that property and you go, wow, I love it, I need to have it, I want to put an offer in, then you know that that property is going to be successful. I can tell you that. So information alone will not give you success. You also need to take action. I know lots of people have been to university, believe it or not. They've got all this knowledge in their heads, and they're great at quiz nights, and they're great at dinner parties when they talk the bullshit. And I'm like, I know this, I know that, I know this. Most of it boring shit because it's got nothing to do with the real world. I'm not saying anything that's wrong against going to unis, because I use accountants, I use solicitors, I use all sorts of people in my building trade and my property trade. So I need you people. So please go to uni. But if you went to study law at a university and then you finished and you decided to go and lay bricks for work, great, if that's what you want to do. But what I'm saying is you've got all this information, all this legal, all this law, you went and, to the bar and did all this, and yet you're doing nothing with it. What a waste of bloody time. So why am I saying this? Because if you want to come to my course, I want you to be vibrant. I want you to be ready. I want you to be that you're there because you want to make some money, because you're passionate, because you want to help other people. You want to hammer this. I don't want you there like this. Oh, yeah. You're half asleep. You're just waiting for lunch. Oh, I got a free lunch. Well, you know what? Don't bother coming. I'm serious. I said at the start, I'm not interested in helping people change their lives. You're going to sit there and you're just going to be a course junkie. Please don't come. Do you know why? Because it's bloody distracting for me and it's distracting for other people in the class. I'm not one of these people who needs the money. I love teaching people, right? That's what I want to do. My biggest kick is seeing people like some of the people we've seen change their bloody lives. They get better cars, they get better houses, the kids go to better schools, they do better things. That's where I get my kicks. I don't give a shit about the money, to be fair, which is why we don't charge a fortune for our courses. So think about what would you do tomorrow? Like tomorrow, most of you got to get up, fucking train 6 o'clock. I've got to sit there and smell other people's morning breath, or read their paper, and then they get pissed off because you're reading their paper, or beep, 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 you hear their music on the phone, all that sort of shit about commuting, right? And especially at the moment, it's freezing cold. You're all standing at the platform, huddled, like, where's the door? Oh, quick, get on the train. I've seen it. What would you do tomorrow if you knew that you didn't have to get up and going out and earn money? What would you do? Well, I'll tell you what, we wouldn't be down that bloody train station at 6 o'clock in the morning. You might have kids, you might be saying, you know what, I'll take the kids to school today, sweetheart. Whatever it might be. Or, I don't have to go to the gym at 5 o'clock. I can go at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? It's a different world. And I'll tell you what, when I made the change, it was scary as shit. But I'll tell you, I've never looked back. Sometimes I look back and go, whoa, have I come that far? Awesome. So income coming no matter what you do. Now, I was talking about the scenario, the example when I sat with Tim and we're sitting at ping, ping, ping. We're on holiday. We're having a beer with the boys and we're bloody earning money. We're paying for our trip 10 times over. It's amazing. It's amazing, amazing business. I love it. And I've had lots of different business. We've got children's nurseries, and I'll tell you what, yeah, it's good money, but it takes 3 years before you see any money, and you've got loads and loads of staff. My wife loves the business, but I'll tell you what, she turns around and said to me, even tonight, she's probably listening somewhere, she said, you've got the ability to accelerate your income just like that. Whereas I don't. I have to go like Ofsted and create all these other things and, get a load of staff and get all these things. But we don't have to do that. And we can just quickly go and create more money, more income. If you feel like doing a bit more work, go and do it. Like look at Nigel, $500,000 in like less than a year. Bang! Awesome work. He's got £1 million business next year. So what we're giving you here, we're going to on Saturday, you're going to get the whole entire strategy. And then after that, it's up to you to get off your ass. I call it Goya, get off your ass. You've got to get off your backside. You've got to go and take action. And I'll tell you what, if you follow our strategy, the cash flow system to the T, there's no T, but to the CASHFLOW, and then you go out and you take action, you will be successful. If you follow the cash flow system, letter by letter, you will be successful. I guarantee it, no matter what. So above all else, this is going to be your business. Yes, you will have a business. You will work on it daily. You will not work in it. What do I mean by that? Think about this. If I was a cleaner, I can clean one table. I'm going to get my £10 an hour, 12, 15, whatever it is you charge. I'm going to get my money. But I can never earn any more money than that £10 while I'm working in the business. Now, if I work on a business and say, you know what, there's 20 tables here. If I just take a percentage of those other 20 tables and pay someone else to clean them, while I'm cleaning here, get my £10 an hour, I could actually be making £50 an hour, but I'm still cleaning the same table. That's what we call leveraging, and that's when you're working on your business, but not in your business. When we talk about leveraging other people's properties and that type of thing, and automation, that's gives you can sit on the bloody beach where you've got internet connection. I did it on Spain this year. What it's called, begins with A, somewhere in Spain anyway. Valencia, that's not even an A, it's a V. Went to Valencia and I did some webinars. Said, well, it's doing a bit of stuff on service accommodation, got other businesses. All my businesses I can run from the internet. So you can ramp this up very quickly, as I explained. Seek help from proven experts. This is us, this is what we do, plus the other people. You get to join our private group for ongoing support. It's private, so no one knows you're there, because some people like to remain anonymous. And you must take action every day. You must be doing something every day. Now, this scares some people that entrepreneurs do not relax. We're always on. Now, I can tell you this. I'm like any other man. Or woman, but not really like a woman, but I'm like any other person. I could sit on the beach all day and chill. No problem whatsoever. I could have somebody bring me a bloody cocktail and a snack and lunch. I can sit back there all day and relax. No problem. That's me relaxing. But I can tell you this. I'll also have my mind going, thinking, why didn't I think of this? I got this idea. I can do this. But you have 100 ideas coming to your head, but it might be only that you monetize one or two. So you're constantly dreaming or thinking, and then you think, well, how can I monetize? Not everything can be monetized, as in make you money. Then a couple of things you think, right, you know what? This can make me bloody money. And this is one of those things, service accommodation. It's awesome. Hey, look, I'm not trying to flog it to you, to a certain extent. Yes, I want you to come on the course, but like I said, I don't really come on the course if you're going to do nothing with it. Please save yourself some bloody money and save yourself, most importantly, a lot of time. And save your family the embarrassment of you going back and going, oh, how you going? No, I'm not doing anything with it. Just bloody get out there and do something. So what will you get from me? I'll give you the manual on the rent to rent I wrote, masterclass day on the day, all the exercises, all the documents that you need for service accommodation, all the legal contracts you get from my solicitor. He is also has rent to rent properties, also has a property portfolio, so he understands. Nino is on the group. JV partners, energetic training from me, guaranteed. You will retain a lot more because we have a bit of a laugh on the day. I'm not one of these guys, you probably worked out already, who stands up there and goes, good morning, everyone. We're just going to cover off the reasons why we should do service accommodation. Oh, my Lord, I'd have to walk out. So full follow-up support from me personally on the private Facebook group. There's both rent to rent HMOs if you're going to do that, or if you're doing that already, and service accommodation. That's an example of it there. You are held accountable for what you do or don't do. So be careful. If you do nothing, try and hide, because we'll find you. Hide and seek. We'll also teach you the systems that you need for automation. And we have a special offer today. The value of the manual, we've sold it for £1,000 before, quite a few times. You get the masterclass, all included, all the forms. You know, if you went to Nino and got all this done, it would cost you a lot more than that. Private group, you know, people say it's priceless, but let's put $1,000 on it. The calculator that we had put together, which is how you decide what a deal is, and if it's not a deal, that when it comes down to the numbers, we spend about 40 minutes on this on the day. The scripts for the agents and landlords, we say $2,000, but I'll tell you what, you know, for Jimmy, it's earning £42,000 a month, so it's worth to him, I don't know, £500,000 a year. Let's put it like that. All the legal docs, as we said. Total value of over 10 grand. That's not a true value. 10 grand. It's worth a lot more than that. Believe me. You know, Jimmy is worth $500,000 a year. Nigel, it will be worth £1 million a year very soon. So, as I said, if you get there on the day and you think, you know what, I was one of these people who thought I could really do this and wanted to do that, but you end up thinking to yourself, you know what, really, I'm one of those people that Ash warned me not to come. So if by 10 o'clock in the morning, the first break, or 10:30 in the morning by the first break, you think you're not one of these people who could make this work, I'll give you money back, 100% money back, guarantee. Walk out the door, no questions asked, give you money back. To purchase today or tomorrow, we're not going to lock it down, all right? But you need to purchase before Saturday. That's the only thing. Can't turn up without it. If you don't have cards or bank accounts, just contact me and I can maybe arrange other payment methods. So I will just put my email address. Sorry, I'm going to lean over there because there's another screen in the way. If you can't see it because you're watching the recording, it's ashbanfield@gmail.com. For those who are on here live, well done. It is now on there, ashbanfield@gmail.com, ashbanfield@gmail.com. And also, please feel free to email me if you've got any other questions. We'll actually let you bring a business partner, friend, mum, dad, sister, auntie, son, daughter, cousin, whatever you want to call them, plus one. They can come for free, no charge. So your investment today is $497 plus VAT for 2 people, or $248.50 each plus VAT. So that's about a third of what other people out there give you. And I can tell you this, I've been on all of the courses, and we went on the other courses too to research it, to make sure we give the best value, none of the fluff and the selling bullshit, all hardcore service accommodation, cash flow from property. So here, we spoke about going to work tomorrow, if that's one of you. And if you look here, the majority of people in the world, they swap their most valuable asset in life, which is time, for money. In other words, tomorrow morning, if you get up at 6 and you get home at 7, you have swapped all of that time for your salary. Your salary might be 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year, 50, or the golden handcuffs, 100,000 plus. And I say the golden handcuffs because you're getting 100 grand and you've got the nicest car you can buy. You're basically, you know, you're financed to the hill. You know, you're living with Mr. and Mrs. Jones in Smith Street and that type of thing. So it's a golden handcuffs. Nothing against that. I was there and I went into property to get out of that. You could also be self-employed, which means the cleaner. You can only clean one table at a time, which means you're swapping a lot of time for very little money. Now, if you're a business owner, which is what we're telling you about here, you can leverage other people's time. You can also build up residual income as well. And then you can start to, you know, invest in other people's businesses as well, if you like. And then that way you're leveraging time. Remember at the start we said opium, they're leveraging other people's money, time, experience, knowledge, etc., properties. This means that you can spend less time working in the business, if you remember, and you work your time working on the business. In other words, growing the business or being an entrepreneur, thinking of other little things that you can monetize. Once you have the money coming in, remember I said that the business is going to become self-sufficient after 3 or 4. Then you can actually start to churn. After 8, it's going to be 2 properties that you can pull in. Nigel now, you know, he can self-fund, you know, 10 properties at a time if he wants to. So you can invest with all of that disposable income, you can start to invest that into other property things, or, God forbid, in Bitcoin or whatever other things there are out there, investments that you want to get into. So it means that your money is then working, making money while you snooze away on that beach in Valencia or wherever it is you are. Or you're a business owner and you can snooze away and you wake up in the morning like I do and you've got bookings coming in. There is where the Pulse is the actual the app for booking.com, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it's taking a while to load. But basically your phone pings and you get bookings coming in. So we just got a booking last night on Airbnb for $2,500 for 12 nights. So awesome stuff. I'll show you one that's the ones that loads. So how to invest right now. I will load a button for you on the screen. And that one actually says it ends in 2 hours. So you can basically click on there now and save the link. If not, I tell you what I will do. I will give you the link right now so that you can book onto there. And excuse me, I want to lean over. And there's the link on screen. So bookwhen.com/Ashley Banfield UK. Bookwhen is book, obviously, and when, bookwhen.com/Ashley Banfield UK. No dot between Banfield UK. So you can go onto there. The next one is February 24th, which is on Saturday. As I said, go out there. We want to help you build your cash flow. We want to work with people who are ready to get out there and do it. Please come along. We look forward to meeting you. You can use PayPal, you can use credit cards, debit cards, whatever you want. As I said, you've got my email there, ashbanfield@gmail.com. If you, for some reason, you don't have a credit card or PayPal or debit card, whatever, we do have other ways that you can pay us, i.e. cash. So thank you all. I'll go into your questions now. But please join us on our Facebook group, Wealth and Success Academy, or go to YouTube. We've got tons of videos on there, more education and more webinars like this, recordings, and this one will also be on there by the morning. So copy that on your screen, the YouTube account, or just type in search Ashley Banfield Rent to Rent. You'll probably get me. And we're also on Instagram, where we do lots of motivational stuff. So that is the end of the webinar. My eyes. So now what we'll do is we will go through your questions and see what sort of questions we've got here from you guys. So good. So we own 3 self-contained 2-bed flats. We live in one, another rented AST. Our floating lodges, etc. Other floating lodges, okay. Town centre, I won't say the area. Problem not clued up with internet, etc. Would you advise? Thanks, Danny. Okay. So you don't have to be what we call clued up with the internet, but you will need to know somebody who can get you onto booking.com, Airbnb, and those type of places so that you can actually take. There'll be probably 4 or 5 different applications that you use. Trust me, they're very easy to use. We can also give you lessons on how to use those. But that area that you mentioned, you should be making a ton of money down there for sure, because it has everything that you're looking for. Is Cam's surname? No, it's not. It's a different Cam. I won't say his surname, but the one that you put on here, Natasha. But no, that's not his surname. Yeah, I know who that Cam is, and it's not him. Cool. Okay, the London 90-day rule. We cover all that on the course. Need a managing SA person in Crawley. Who do you recommend? Just email me. There's loads of people who work down there. Cool. Any other questions? Could I bring 3 people? Is that 3 people as in you and 2 others? The third person can come for 250 quid or 248.50, whatever it is. So half the price. So that's not a problem. We won't charge you a full price for that person. Cool. Good. Okay, which areas of London work best? I'll give you my diamond ring too. There's quite a few that work well, but you'll know once you understand the whole entire course system, then you'll know what areas will work and won't work, and you'll leave on the day and you'll say to yourself, you know what, that doesn't work or that does work. Good. Okay, fantastic. You're very welcome. There's about 7 or 8 thank you, great webinar, great content messages here. I won't read them all out, but thank you all who have sent that in. Thank you. Okay, similar questions there. Ready to get started now. Okay, so see you Saturday. That'll be good. Thank you to those people who've already booked, by the way. That's great. I look forward to seeing you. If you can, for those who've already booked, if you can send me the name of the person that you're actually bringing as well, so we can check them in when you come. And yes, we do provide coffee, teas, and lunch, hot and cold food. So it's all included in the price. Good. And we actually have a drink afterwards as well. So I've actually got 3 close friends coming on the course on Saturday. And so if that's any indication of trust, if you like. Thank you, Geeta. You're welcome. Okay. Yes, it does work all over the UK, but not everywhere in the UK. And again, once you understand the core system, you'll know. You'll answer that question. That will be very easy for you to answer. You leave the course with enough information to go and start making money. There are things that you learn, obviously, as you go along, which is why we have the Facebook group for support. But you will have enough to go out and start earning money. That I guarantee you. Okay, brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, guys, that's probably enough questions there. Okay, sorry, there's another one here. How do we actually get to purchase commercial property, turn it into SA with none of our own money? Okay, so that's something that we teach you on a day as well. To give you a quick snip, so there's a certain property that we will look at and we will purchase, but there's a method that we use before we purchase to get the value up, so that you actually get in probably 65% of the cases, the properties that you take on, you will actually get paid quite a lot of money to actually buy that property, if you understand what I mean. So, and it is commercial, which is fantastic. And I'm not sure if my broker's coming on Saturday. Commercial broker, he may be, I'm not sure. I'll need to confirm that to you, to the ones who are coming. But I chatted down with him again last Friday, and we had a chat about some other deals that we're doing, getting creative with commercial property. So he went over and he said, yeah, it's we've got a couple of banks that will do that. So awesome. But that's for me, and I can pass that on. So good. So yeah, we are actually doing this, you see. So we don't just sit here and tell you different crap, and we're not doing it. That's what school teachers do, right? Or uni lecturers. They're not lawyers, but you teach you all about it. Good. Okay, fantastic. Thank you all. Thank you all for your kind words. I look forward to seeing those who are coming on Saturday. there's a couple who booked onto March. That's fine. I'll see you then as well. Awesome work. Thanks again. And we're going to sign off now, and have a great evening. And thank you for your time. I think we were just over an hour, but thank you very much.